Greetings and welcome to the channel. Today I'm in Ormskirk in Lancashire, which is in Southport. The reason I've come here is, as you can see in front of me, is a church with a tower and steeple, closely knit together. And if any of you have watched my Purton video or my Wanborough video, you will realise that there are only 3 churches in England that have a tower and a steeple. And this is the third one that I was looking for. It's not meant to be open today. I think it's only open Sundays. However, the gate is open, so it actually looks quite hopeful today. Let's have a look inside. It was raining when I turned up, but the sun is always shining if the door's open. Apparently, there has been a place of worship on this site since before 1170, which is the approximate date of the oldest part of the building, the Norman window in the chancel. I was very interested to read that the children of Ormskirk built the porch. Like many churches, the building was greatly restored at the end of the 19th century. It has beautiful stained glass windows and carvings. Recently there has been further work done to the interior to create a more welcome entrance. I particularly like this statue feature. We now make our way through the nave, gradually on our way towards the chancel arcade, which dates from about 1270. I like this interesting banner. The stained glass windows, of course, are always a delight. However, I find I'm always drawn to the carvings, probably because I had carpenters in my genealogy. Legend has it that Orm had 2 sisters, one who wanted a tower and one who wanted a spire, and Orm built both to please both. Regrettably, the truth is not so romantic. The steeple dates from the early 15th century, but the original blew down in 1731 and was rebuilt between 1790 and 1832. The large west tower was added to the church around 1548 to house the bells of nearby Ormskirk Priory following the dissolution of the monasteries. One of these bells can still be seen in the church, as we've seen already. As I'm recording this, I'm in rather a contemplative frame of mind, so that's why there's lots of silence between the dialogue. This is because I would rather quietly look at the beauty as I do in the churches than speak. Indeed, to save my voice, check out the historical links in the description. This must be the aforementioned Norman window. Corbels supporting the roof. From the high chancel we move into the Derby chapel. To our left we approach the effigies of Thomas Stanley, 1st Earl of Derby, and Lady Margaret Beaufort. Below the Mothers' Union standard, we see the effigies of Eleanor Neville, Lady Stanley, first wife of Sir Thomas Stanley, and her father-in-law, also Thomas Stanley. You may notice, as I move, that there's no sound of footsteps. This is because I've completely muted the original audio, which was spacious anyhow, other than footsteps, and had lots of noise outside, which I found disturbed the quietude. Of course, in such a noisy world, we seldom get to a state of silence, and sometimes I find my soul yearns for it. So please forgive me if you'd rather have a noisy world. After all, you do not have to venture far to find the noise. As I look along the nave, I'm really appreciating the lights. Clearly, now as then, people of all generations put their touches on these places, and that is part of the fascination with them outside of any spiritual dimension. And each church is like a visual diary of the area in which it served, whether it was a small hamlet or a large city, and this alone is enough reason to preserve it. How nice of the stonemason to put the date on this font so that pidgin historians such as myself are able to identify the era in which it was made. Perhaps this bell sits close to the pulpit so it can hear the vicar's sermon. I've been in a bell tower when one was ringing, and it's quite a frightening experience, and no wonder the bell might be deaf today and need to sit closer. This is the original font cover from 1661. I use information like this to give me a sense of the age of other artefacts in different churches. As ever, I always enjoy the details on the wood carvings of the end pews. Notice more silent footsteps, like a ghost making my way through the church. What skill and application it takes to make beautiful carvings like this. You see, even ghosts can still appreciate, and a warm welcome might be all my cold fingers need. We're never far from the light, and what better for it to be behind a stained glass window. Rather ornate shelving, certainly not from IKEA. This brass is quite high up and would be a challenge for most people to do a rub-in, even if it were permitted. I was speaking to a lady at the church who was the whole reason for the place being open, and she advised me about this Victorian loo which we are about to see after looking at these gravestones. Here we approach it. If she hadn't have pointed it out, I'm not sure what I would have made of it, but don't worry, there are loos inside now that you can use. The camera now climbs to the Great Tower, which was completed in 1570. As I said earlier, this is one of only 3 churches with the feature of tower and spire, and is unique in having them both at the same end. I'm aware that inside, whilst the quiet might have been welcome, the absence of bird song and some of the other delightful noises certainly feels a bit of a loss. I would reintroduce my muted audio at this juncture, but having played it, I think the silence is preferable. The graves that are about to follow are quite interesting because they seem to relate to groups of families by particular names, and whether these were financed by wealthier people to enable them to have a grave, I do not know. Perhaps someone can tell me. Because of the way the steeple is set against the tower, from this side you really wouldn't notice that there is a steeple at the other end. I don't have any information to hand as to why the decision was taken to put the tower and steeple so closely together, but it certainly has an interesting effect. As the footsteps reappear, am I reborn? It's a bit like a camera roll at the end of a film, but all the actors are dead and their gravestones are being displaced. But it makes a very interesting effect. Notice the mistletoe and the trees over there, or the tree, and the lovely bluebells and other flowers that are coming into bloom as life goes on. whether we're there or not. Life goes on. That's wide door. It looks even wider now. Wind's picking up, rain's coming, I think. I'll have to leave it there. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.